In case you guys didn't know about this amazing hack, you can bring coconuts on the airplane. So I don't like to drink water in airports. I got about 10 coconuts in there that I'm gonna have to drink on this plane. And I've got meat. So I got some burgers, heart burgers, regular burgers that I'm bringing on the plane. So that's how I travel.
Welcome back to Making It Awkward. I'm Jessica Wilson, dietitian and author of It's Always Been Ours. You can find video of this show on YouTube and Spotify, and you can support the show by rating, subscribing, commenting, and leaving an Apple Podcast review. You can find me on Instagram at jessicawilson.msrd. This is an independent podcast brought to you by folks who are trying to laugh and not cry. And no one is better for that than our next grifter, Dr. Paul Saladino. I got to discuss him with beef farmer Trampus Harmon, who returns for today's episode. Paul Saladino's website says he is a voice for health freedom. And let me tell you, his voice is loud.
Chapstick. This is a huge scam, guys. Nothing can make peanut butter healthy. Peanut butter is a total scam. Man, stop cooking with aluminum foil. Think this is a paper cup? No, this is a plastic cup. This is the best hack that you don't know about for healing your gut. Using this dental floss is basically like eating Teflon twice a day. This is why you need to be chewing every bite of food 100 times before you swallow it.
Paul lists his nutrition philosophy on his website, and he misspells philosophy, but he calls it all the remembering and says, quote, "The bad news is that you live in a zoo, ... The good news is the cage doors are open. You are a human, a member of the species Homo sapiens, ... Your ancestors have walked this earth for hundreds of thousands of years, ... But now your past is being erased. You are being told that meat and organs are bad for you, ... You are being told to stay indoors and hide from the sun, ... This guy. You are being told that you are broken and can only be fixed with pharmaceuticals, ... That's the end. Paul has a calculator on his website for my nutrient needs, and according to him, I need 1.8 pounds of meat per day, including 2 to 3 ounces of liver per week, and I should get a few ounces of other organs per day. Examples include heart, testicle, kidney, pancreas, brain, and bone marrow. Among many other things, including my stomach, my grocery budget is cackling at this idea. Paul graduated from the University of Arizona and completed his residency at the University of Washington. He states that he is double board certified as a physician nutrition specialist and psychiatrist. FYI, that physician nutrition specialist training looks like just year 1 and 2 of becoming a dietitian, forgetting that year 3, 4, and internship. This all apparently qualifies Paul to tell us that honey will heal our wounds and that using some types of floss is equivalent to eating Teflon twice a day. Paul has said a lot of ridiculous and potentially dangerous things. On May 7th, 2024, he posted a video to his X account that promoted feeding raw dairy to infants. The post received over 90,000 views and sparked strong backlash before it was removed the following day, according to CBS. But things like this are likely to be picked up by the person who fired his entire vaccine committee this week. Paul's original claim to fame was his carnivore diet and his book, The Carnivore Code, a code that has many bugs that will be discussed today. His motivation to become a carnivore, including having eczema, which spurred him to think about whether plants are bad, as one does. In his book, he says that plants are poison.
This is kale. Think about this, guys. This is a leaf of a plant. The plant clearly doesn't want you to eat this.
Thus far in my questionable journeys into the internet, Paul is the least documented doctor turned influencer, even though he shouts from all corners of the country, literally. His Wikipedia page is short and has multiple errors in his biographical information, but the page does offer that he traffics in pseudoscience. One publication cited on his Wikipedia page is an article from McGill's Office for Science and Society. They say that Paul's claims include that fiber is unnecessary and drinking beer leads to man boobs. I've heard him say that French fries are the most addictive food on the planet while he stands outside a Five Guys restaurant screaming at us. And he says that eating them is apparently equal to smoking 25 cigarettes. McGill's article describes him as, quote, quite frisky in the duck pond, end quote, and I love it. My research into Paul solved one mystery. He is the one responsible for Erewhon's raw meat smoothie. His supplement company, Heart and Soil, which he shares with the health cult leader and testicle-loving Liver King, provides the beef organs and immunomilk for Erewhon's smoothie, which is brilliant. And lastly, because it's just too much to talk about more, we can all thank Paul for the seed oil panic. In 2020, he went on a 3-hour podcast episode with Joe Rogan to spout speed oil misinformation and manufacture a lot of fear. Wikipedia's page specifically for seed oil misinformation is longer than Paul's, and he and his lies are referenced 4 separate times. Seed oils may seem like a random choice, but what a business move to tell everyone to use tallow and then sell it for a bunch of money.
This is what I packed for my lunch at the White House today. So I am in DC for the big announcement of the MAHA Chronic Disease Report. I've got a raw milk smoothie in here that is raw milk, blueberries, honey, and some raw meat, actually. I got some cherries, blueberries, apple, and that is my lunch in the White House. So do not let convenience rule your life. Convenience is the enemy of health.
Whew. Since I got to talk to Trampus about Paul, I used the opportunity to ask him about the MAHA report. In my interview with Selena and Megan about the report, Selena noticed that regenerative farming just wasn't in there. Trampus tells us what's happening to regenerative farming and what he's truly concerned about as a beef farmer. And here's that conversation. Trampus, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
In your raw milk episode, you mentioned this guy who runs around Costco with his shirt off, yelling at people. Turns out that was Paul.
Yes. Paul's a fitness influencer who constantly seems to pop up on my For You page on TikTok. And now, because I've looked into him a little bit more, he pops up on my Instagram and Facebook and advertisements and etc.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I started looking at him maybe for Costco, but I think my favorite video of him of all time is him taking like 10 coconuts through security for his hydration on the plane. Yes. And apparently, it's really easy to stick a straw through one of those holes while you're on the plane. Where are those in the overhead compartment? They have 7, I think, to 34 ounces of fluid. So like, that could be 70 total if it's a long flight. Like I've gone through 10 coconuts and I've just gotten up every time and gone to the overhead compartment. What the heck is happening? I don't know.
It's got to be like a backpack full of coconuts. Like, you have your little carry-on and you just set it underneath the seat in front of you, and then if you're lucky enough to sit next to him, maybe he'll share a coconut. Have like the 2 straws, and like, that's wild to me. The whole bringing a coconut on a plane, and I still haven't seen how he taps it with a straw.
Yes. And then do I eat coconut meat for the next like 3 or 7 days, or do I throw them away? Like, what's the plan here, sir? I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's just weird to me that is where we're at in life sometimes, and it's like,
yeah,
I would be disturbed if that guy sat next to me on the plane.
I know. So annoyed by this guy who's like trying to hack open a coconut. It's with that one in particular that I've thought of over and over again. I'm like, you're not selling this. You're just yelling at people about coconuts here. And I'm like, this has to be for monetized or some other content, because there is no reason. Like, this is not your supplement. This is not anything. I don't know why it's on the internet.
So there's monetized views, but there's also, the algorithm in general. Oh my God, this guy is doing, something crazy with coconuts. And then I share that with you. Well, then it starts popping up on your For You page.
Fair.
And so then, yeah, I mean,
good call.
There's probably some shock value. There was the one you sent me the other day where he's drinking the blueberry shake with raw heart blended into it for the animal-based breakfast smoothie. And there's a cut scene in there, if you watch, before he pours it in. And I wonder if he cut out the raw meat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know how well raw meat blends. Like, it feels like it would sort of get caught on the little blades in the bottom. It would be stringy.
Okay, so if I tried this, sir, could I do something with my blended cow meat like afterwards, or would that just be a waste?
I will mail you a raw heart so you can blend it if you're going to drink it. Like, there can't be a cutscene. You got to do it.
I'm not going to drink it. No, I'd see if it worked, and then I'd like make it into a meat pie. I don't know what people do with that. It's funny. Oh, good times. But no, we'll do that the next time we're up at your farm. We'll split it.
Okay, we can do raw heart shots of blueberry. Yeah.
Great.
Sarah and Mackenzie and everybody can just do a raw heart shot.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. All right. This guy, Paul, 2018, decided to just become a carnivore.
Yes.
And it seems like the way that he decided what a carnivore was, it was like anything that was an animal product. So raw dairy, meat, and then eggs.
It's very similar to me to the Atkins diet.
Sure.
The keto diet, like all these diets are very similar. He just reinvented it. And then the first time he actually ever called it the carnivore diet was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's actually the one who coined the term.
Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. And then he wrote a book. He was like, I can monetize this.
Yes.
And right. So he was a carnivore from 2018 to 2020. The book came out in 2020.
Yes.
So then he had to go on this like apology tour, it seemed like, or coming out situation where he went from I'm a carnivore to I'm meat based. Is that it? Meat forward.
Animal based.
Yeah. Now he has an animal based diet. And it seems like that has become a slippery slope for him as well. At first, it seemed like he just added like honey and berries. Like that's it. In 2024, someone asked him what he had eaten just that morning, and it included a sweet potato. And I was like, I don't think that's a fruit. I think that's a tuber. So it's just like this creep of what's in and what's out. He's got the kefir, he's got the milk, he's got the berries. He had 2 burgers, and yeah, carnivore creep. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's gross.
I mean, there's science behind the whole thing of elimination diet where you basically start at a base and then you add things in.
Sure.
But I sort of feel like he's using, this is the science, and then he just twists it to his own means of, see, look, I'm doing it this way, and so it's got a scientific background in it. It's sort of like aspartame causes cancer in mice if you inject it into their backs in giant amounts. It's a similar concept of, I can take that and just be like, Diet Coke's going to give you cancer. It's just, if you
just like
pull that totally out of context.
Yes.
Yeah.
He justifies the need for honey and all of the kefir. It's raw kefir dairy. It's raw kefir. It's raw cottage cheese whenever he's doing these things. I don't know who's making these things for him, but okay. And then he goes to Muscle Beach for like muscle ups for his workout. And so he justifies all of this because he needs more carbs,
Carbs are energy.
Right. Like, I'm not going to deny this, sir, but what are we doing? And yes, now he eats avocado. He drinks juice, which is something that I would have to say, even if it is like the naturalist fruit juice, for folks who are into like big health, which is another term I'm going to coin right here, they don't do juice because it spikes your insulin. So like,
yes.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that was, one of the first things I learned when I was learning about nutrition was you don't drink juice because there's no fiber in it. And that's the whole reason that it makes a fruit healthy. I can drink 6 gallons of apple juice. It's delicious. And it's like, yeah, I don't get his logic. I don't feel like there is a lot of logic. And he just switches to whatever works today.
Yeah.
And
He says he stopped in 2018 because it turns out that your health changes over time. And if you write a book on something, maybe like a year before or after it's published, things might be different for you.
yeah, I mean, his testosterone plummeted. And so he said that he had to add the non-animal-based, non-based food items back into his diet because his testosterone was way down. And he said now that he's done it, he's back up in the 800s, which I'm not sure where you're supposed to be.
We're all looking up.
Yeah, I just remember him saying 800, and I was like, is that good? I'm guessing. I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started having palpitations, started cramping because he wasn't going to do any like additional electrolytes. So he was like, I'm doing this diet where my diet is inherently deficient in a lot of things. I'm not going to supplement them because that wouldn't, align. What I'm going to do is just stop this diet, which is interesting because I guess you're totally right. And that's why of the shifting like to raw milk and then more to berries, etc. with the carnivore creep just to capitalize on the market. Cause he could have lied like Liver King. Like he sure could have lied.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so pure that I feel like people can be with their lives, like, let alone their diet. It's like at a certain point, carbs are everywhere.
Right.
And so.
Yeah. He says he was in, quote, deep ketosis with this diet. And speaking, I know he's not a dietitian. I am. Ketosis happens when your diet is high in fat. If your diet is high in protein, it becomes carbs if they need them. So I'm like, were you just eating a ton of bacon, sir? Or were you like eating just animal fat? I mean, he says that he was monitoring his urine. I'm just going to believe him, but it doesn't make sense to me. And then his famous quote got like passed around and critiqued is that maybe long-term ketosis isn't actually healthy for everyone. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, so part of the carnivore diet is you want high fat proteins. So you're not eating a lot of chicken breast. You're not eating a lot of fish, which you should eat fish because of the omega
3s.
I was thinking 6s. Anyway, I had a 50-50 chance. So, yeah, you want to eat a lot of fish, but most of them are trying, like when they talk to me, they want ribeyes because ribeye is like one of the fattiest steaks you can get.
Okay.
And they want their ground beef to be at least 80-20, if not 75-25, 70-30. Like they want a large amount of animal fat in their diet.
Okay.
And they eat all the fat. Yes.
Sure.
And bacon is a huge one too. Eggs are huge in the carnivore diet. All of those are high in fats.
Mm-hmm.
They're also high in cholesterol, but
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned eggs, and he was talking early on in the 2018 to 2020 period. And people were doing like a Q&A and asking like, how do I get things like calcium? And he was like, yeah, a couple of things you could do. One, chew on eggshells.
I knew you were going to say that. I didn't even hear it. I was like, oh, please don't say eggshells.
Yeah. He's like, oh, it feels, like a dinosaur situation. I'm like, oh, does it? Or you can chew on bones. Like, okay.
I'm pretty sure Sarah said something about our teeth enamel is not as hard as bones. So, yeah, I'm not sure how we're supposed to chew on bones.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So those were your options for getting calcium. I'm like, oh, right. And then liver was the answer to everything else. Like everything we basically need, we'll get in the liver.
And I personally, I enjoy liver. Like I do. I know it's not as common in my generation as it is in the older generation, I'm going to say.
Okay.
But I like liver, but I couldn't imagine eating liver. Like I eat liver once a month.
Okay.
It's sort of like a treat to me. I know that sounds weird, but I can't imagine having it as part of my diet like daily. It's like, oh, did I have my desiccated liver and dehydrated liver jerky and
yep.
powdered liver and capsules and.
No, that's not your thing.
No, it's not. That seems excessive. Like, there's a lot of liver there.
Indeed. Oh, he could be in ketosis, and I'll go back on this because he was doing like the tallow thing. So if he's adding a bunch, there we are. Whole milk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
right.
also, cooking your eggs in the tallow.
Yes, here we are. Okay.
Yeah.
He might not have been lying. That's good.
But tallow didn't become as, even he hasn't sold tallow that long. Tallow has become popular,
Fair.
last 2 years?
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. I never saw it in the store or anything. Even bone broth is something that's new to stores in the last 4 years, I'm going to say. I never saw it in your big stores, Albertsons, Safeway,
Okay.
Fred Meyer, Kroger, etc. Until the last 4 years. And the same thing with tallow is now just starting to come into your grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
And so lard has always been there.
Yeah.
But that's not as popular in the U.S. for cooking as tallow is now.
Question. Now that we're talking about it, it's not like a animal-based or meat-based or carnivore. It's like cow-nivore. They're not talking about pork. You already mentioned chicken. There's some fish. So what's that about? I don't know.
So the grass-fed is a big push. So a lot of them will eat lamb. They'll eat pasture-raised chickens, but pasture-raised chickens, I raise chickens in my pasture, but I supplement them with feed because meat chickens can't survive only on pasture, like bugs.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. They eat bugs. It's great. They go out in my garden and they kill all the bugs and eat the stuff off the plants. And yeah, it's awesome. Chickens are opportunistic omnivores, but pasture raising a chicken is way harder than grain raising them. And so it's harder to find pasture-raised chicken. It's easy to find grass-fed beef.
Okay. That's a good point. The grass-fed of it all. Okay.
The hogs that they're getting, like pork, there's a new breed, which has, again, become popular in the last probably 4 years. It's called Coon.
Okay.
Kune.
Oh, all right.
And so they are actually a pasture pig, and they graze instead of, rutting in the ground and getting grubs and stuff. They still do that a little bit, but not near as much. I've never seen a pig that would eat grass like a coon will.
So is this your next venture?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
I have too much going on. We did this year, we're going to do right around 700 chickens. We're going to do 120 halves of beef, and then our burger cows, I've got 25 burger cows. And so our plate is full.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So Paul has 2 different supplement companies. One is with the Liver King. The newer one, Lineage, seems to be pushing more. Those were the ones that were product placement when he was taking shots, raw milk shots, with RFK in the White House. So, he's moved away. And with that Lineage product line, he sells tallow. And I, was looking for how many per ounce, how many, how much are we talking about? You can buy 1, you can buy a 3-pack. That's all it says. How much is in there? We don't know. What's the scale? No, you have no scale. You have 3 jars. That's all you get. Does it have 4 ounces? I don't know. Does it have, 16? Probably not. But I love that you could just be so invested in him that you would buy a 3-pack because it's cheaper.
So supplement companies in general are not monitored by the FDA as much unless it breaks. Supplements like workout supplements, once in a while they get in trouble because they are actually steroids.
Mm-hmm.
The steroid that Arnold Schwarzenegger got huge on was one back in 2000s, and they just changed it a little bit.
Okay.
Other than that, supplement companies are not monitored at all. And so, these claims have not been investigated by the FDA or something like that is on the side of most supplements.
Yes.
And I sort of wonder how much his tallow is considered a food additive or Like, how is he marketing it?
Oh, well,
because, if I sell a beef product,
okay,
it's weighed by a government official. Like, all my beef is USDA processed.
Got it.
And so the USDA is the one that actually weighs it and then ships it. And so I sort of wonder, is he selling it as under some other way to market it? Yeah.
100% grass-fed beef tallow original. That's the information. That's it. And you said that you were questioning whether this was purely tallow or not?
Yes, I still am. Like, I'm questioning, like, his switch from originally it was tallow was only made with suet, which is the kidney fat. And now he's making tallow with leaf fat, which is making it that yellow color instead of a white color. If you look at his tallow, it's yellow. And then if you look at his advertisement, he actually mixes it with a spoon.
Oh, tell me more.
And so it's like butterscotch pudding consistency.
Yes.
And most tallow that I have used and made is almost waxy in.
Yeah, you showed us those pictures. They did not. Yeah. You could not stir them.
Yeah, and so it's. I wonder what grass-fed. Like, what is the checks and balances of this whole thing?
Sure. Wait, what's leaf? Is it LEAF or what's this tallow?
Yes. Leaf fat. It's the fat. It's the trimmings off of the cow. So instead of the stuff right off the kidneys, like a cow has like back fat. Yeah. And so that's leaf fat is what they call it, because it flakes off like leaves when you pull on it when it's cold.
Oh, right.
And so I'll take you to the butcher next time you visit.
Heck
and we can watch. And so I just wonder about what he's making this 100% grass-fed tallow with. Yeah. Grass-fed is all self-reported. I have a grass-fed product. How I am approved by USDA is I sent a memo to my USDA butcher saying, hey, I don't feed grain. And they're like, all right, you're good.
Got it.
So it's like, okay, that seems really easy. Like, I genuinely have a grass-fed product.
Saw it.
But it's just like, there's no checks on that. It's like, all right, you do. You wrote a memo saying you did. So.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. When it comes to the health risks of having an animal-based or like meat-heavy diet, it's fascinating. On one side, they will tell me, / all of us, they didn't call me on the phone. They will tell us that red meat is great, organ meats are great, like eat all of them, don't worry about any of the health risks, like this is great, it's anti-inflammatory, it's so much better, you're going to feel better, your gut's going to improve. That's 75%. 25% is them like having a more in-depth conversation about all of the specific labs, particularly ApoB and LDL and things that people have never heard about until all of this is happening. And it'll be like, well, it might impact things. Well, and I've heard multiple people then say, we're all going to die. It might be from my LDL or my high ApoB, but you know what? We're all going to die. So I might as well have so much red meat and other things. So like, but wait, are you doing this to be quote healthier? Are you doing this to die early? Are you, what is this virtue signaling? What's happening? I don't know.
The slowest doctor-assisted suicide ever.
Yeah. No.
So, yeah, it's like, yes, we all are going to die. That's a given. Mm-hmm. But the disregard for your personal health and personal accountability of your health, I'm not one to say anything, but the carnivore diet is not cheap.
Right.
Like, grass-fed beef is a premium product, and so you pay a premium price for it. Mm-hmm. Even the cheapest product you can get from beef is ground beef. Grass-fed ground beef in the stores is $7.98. Mm-hmm. I looked like yesterday.
Okay.
And so I don't see how can you say, hey, I'm going to do this just because, if there's not a benefit to it that you could actually see. Like, you would have to be able to, for me, to spend extra on a product, I would have to be able to see a benefit for it.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have to taste better, be better for me, something,
Sure.
as opposed to just, oh, hey, I'm just doing it because.
You're going to die. Paul's going to die. Like, oh, it's so...
There is going to be a different quality of life if you're healthier. Like, I know this. You know?
Is it if you have to carry meat with you, coconuts on a plane, bringing raw meat, he said, in a smoothie to the White House? Is it a better quality of life when, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you can't eat any of the food anywhere except at your friend, the Liver King's home. I don't know.
See, Liver King doesn't shower. Like, that's one of the things that he talks about in one of his videos is that he doesn't, like, use soap or deodorant.
Yes.
And he's like, oh man, it's just I use beard oil and that's like the only thing I use.
What? Oh,
it's
God.
like, and I don't even smell. And I look at him and I'm like, yes, you do. So, but
right.
So
you use steroids and you shower. Like,
yeah, like I couldn't imagine going to his house and enjoying a meal with that smell there constantly. It's like, oh, that sounds horrible. But
yeah, of hygiene, Paul doesn't believe in soap.
Yes.
Washes his cutting boards with baking soda, I believe.
My mom does that on a lot of things. I don't know if it's on cutting boards specifically, but she uses baking soda for a lot of cleaning.
Baking soda and vinegar, I could see that. But if I have a heart on a wooden cutting board, I feel I need soap. Like I just feel that way. Yeah.
I try I don't use wooden cutting boards because I'm lazy and I love throwing like the little thin plastic one in the dishwasher and then it comes out like clean. It's really
it comes out. Yes, that's how it works.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's some sort of science study somewhere that says baking soda kills bacteria.
Is there though, or is this just another thing that he is putting on the internet to get me to like pass it around? I feel like this is what it is.
Like I said, if there's something that says baking soda kills bacteria, then obviously that means that I can use baking soda for everything. Like
okay.
Yeah.
I'll look that up, put it at the end. Speaking of the things that he doesn't recommend and the reasons that he's yelling at us, I sent you the cotton underwear. Like he starts from upstairs in his home. He's like with this weird, like maybe ghost in the background, but we don't have to get into that. He's marching down his stairs. He goes outside the whole time he's giving this thing. It is like social media mastery for us, to stay engaged. And he's talking about men. If you care about the continuation of our species, if you care about your fertility, why are you still wearing polyester underwear? And he cites these studies and I'm like, I know how to use the computer. Cool. Let's do this. And the studies on men are from 1990s. And they were not just men wearing polyester underwear. They were wearing a polyester sling. Thankfully, in the 1990s, they didn't care about what goes in journal articles. So I get this picture with an actual picture, not a drawing. I get a photograph in here. I'm like, now I know that is not underwear. And the reason they did this study was like to see about male contraception. It is not supposed to be underwear. We're not testing underwear to see what happens. We're testing the scrotal. That's the word. Scrotal slings. We got it. To see if they will work as contraception over months of time. So I have opinions about why this didn't catch on. Oh, maybe because we're never going to task men with, pregnancy prevention. But tell me if I'm wrong. Do people wear scrotal slings 24/7 as underwear?
It sounds uncomfortable.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like, I can't imagine doing a lot of farm chores and everything just popping out of the sling. It's like, oh, my bad. Give me a second here. And then we'll get back to tagging these calves. Like, yeah, that seems like a lot. Yeah. So that was one of the ones that I did not read or listen to, and I'm really sorry I missed out on that one.
It's okay. The health of our species is at risk because of these 1990s studies on contraception. And then he cites a dog one for both men and women about polyester underwear. And I'm like, sir, they don't. Okay. So we're just going to bend the science in our direction. So wear wool, wear cotton. On the internet, I will see him. And I'm like, sir, this is not cotton outerwear, nor is it wool. Like this. But he's like, I only wear cotton or wool. I'm like, no, you don't. That's not.
But that's constant, like, influencer 101 of, you have to lead with something controversial. Our species is going to go extinct because of these underwear.
Right.
It's like, no, it's not. Like, that's not the reason why people aren't having kids. We probably want to have more kids because of universal health care and so many other social issues that have nothing to do with what kind of drawers you're wearing. Like,
right.
Yeah.
But he's happy to yell at you about it. Don't worry. Yeah.
It's just influencer 101 of, this is how I get your attention of, men, are you, and okay, I'm going to say something here. The fragile male ego of, I have to be worried about, am I manly enough? Mm-hmm. Because if I don't wear these underwear, I'm not propagating the species.
Okay.
Which is the only reason that I, as a man, exist, is to
yes,
go to war and eat meat and propagate the species. That's the three most important things. And so obviously that's the test of manhood, is what kind of underwear I wear. So yeah.
Speaking of manhood, what do you think about his tactic to yell at us? To just get on the internet and yell.
Speaking of manhood, it works. And the easiest way to drown out your critics is just to yell over the top of them. And so it is working. He has a huge follower base. He's got 900,000 subscribers or something like that on TikTok, and it's working. His book sold. Everybody still talks about carnivore diet, even though he himself has said that he's not doing it anymore. And it's, I'm sure he's selling some sort of underwear by this point too.
A cutting board you don't have to clean.
Yeah. The wood cutting board. I know he was selling meat sticks for a little while.
Totally. They're still on there. Yeah.
Yeah. And Liam, again, the guy that I do actually follow, did a review of them, and he's like, these things are horrible. They just taste bad. And then there's a few other guys, former Fat Guy Fitness. I follow him.
Nice.
Scotty K Fitness, I think is his name. Anyways, I follow like several influencers that, I sort of pick guys that are based on a little bit of science. And I'm like, hey, this, they're like, it doesn't matter if it's the healthiest thing in the world. If it tastes like garbage, you're not going to eat it. And he's out here peddling these carnivore meat sticks. And I had somebody approach me about making something similar. And I was like, no, they're like, the number one reason people come to my product is for taste. And
we're not doing that.
She's like, well, you could do a heart and liver blended meat stick with just salt. Oh. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, thanks. So
you could.
I could do a lot of things, but I'm not going to. So
I'm going to respect your farmer time. So I've got like 3 more questions or topics. Speaking of drowning out his competitors, he is the only one on these internets like trying to pick a fight. I found in his podcast. Some of his episodes are like a friendly debate with something, with so-and-so. I'd love to talk to Peter Attia and he just won't talk to me. But, I'd love to debate X, Y, and Z thing. And I'm like, you're the only one who's not standing in your stuff compared to like the Marks, the Andrews. It's an interesting vibe. Like you seem defensive a lot of the time, which is interesting to me. So I'll just throw that out for him. It's weird.
He argues from a disingenuous, it's common with Charlie Kirk and people like Ben Shapiro, people like that, who are professional arguers.
Ah.
And again, both of them are marketing items as well, whether it be their books, their podcasts. So they're professional arguers, and so and it's really hard to debate that kind of argument because, it's like, well, what about that study in 2012 done by Dr. Meyer? And it's like, well, I didn't read that study. Well, see, you're not up to date on all the studies.
Yes, that is something that came up for sure.
Yeah. And so by the time that you have researched that study, now you're 5 steps behind me. And it's like, I can't be up to date on all the studies.
Yeah.
You can't be up to date on all the studies. There are constant studies coming out. And you're out here cherry picking which ones you want to do. And if you want to throw somebody off, just throw out a random name. I mean,
RFK does that all the time.
I was just going to say they did that on the Maha report the other day. So, yeah, they're just like, hey, here's 75 pages of studies, and some of them are true. Your job is now to figure out which ones.
Yes, I'm going to come back to that, but I want to say you're so right on the study stuff. 2 terms I heard, quote, it's really technical. Like I'm trying to talk about something. He's trying to talk about something. Somebody has a follow-up question. He's like, it's really technical. Also, I can find the study to back up what I'm talking about, but like nobody's going to follow up and ask for that study. Which is dumbass. I sent you the Maha report and I said, you don't have to read it. And you were like, I'm already halfway through. Specifically, something that Selena noted was all of the missing farming / sustainable farming, which I feel the Maha moms were really able to coalesce and get the farmers on board. So like that was pulling some of the farmers in, but also alienating them because it was like your soil isn't good. But did anything stick out to you or not?
So regenerative farming is a great buzzword. Walmart just purchased a huge beef slaughter facility, and it's regenerative farming only practices. And so it's like, I personally wouldn't trust Walmart to tell me what regenerative farming is. ChatGPT, I wouldn't let them write a 76% government report either. But it didn't seem to really say anything besides we support farmers.
So many times. You don't blame farmers for any of this.
Yeah, but it's like, how are you supporting farmers?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get back to. It's like, well, how? Like, what is the actual policy that's going to change that's going to get back to or to support farmers? Like, is there any substance to this as opposed to just, oh man, I support such and such. It's like, well, how? How? They took away
the grants, right? For
the
farmers.
Grants.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that upsets me is the food stamps, like the SNAP program.
Like,
we do a lot of business with EBT, SNAP, and I love the fact that the farmers markets in Oregon have a matching program for these guys that are on SNAP and EBT. And so they're able to afford local produce and local meats and stuff like that. And to see the cuts to SNAP, it's like, are you afraid that poor people are getting fed? Like, why are you, the welfare queen from the Reagan administration that has been used since the Reagan administration constantly on right-wing media, and the guy that went and bought lobsters and steaks and he didn't really need it because he was a surfer. That one article is from the 90s, and it was played for like 7 years of this guy that he was abusing the system. If there's a system out there, somebody's going to abuse it. That's just a fact. I feel like we're punishing everybody for the actions of a few. And there's so many families that I see that are hurting that I would love to have a little bit more benefits. And I'd be like, dude, if I could support with $4 a year,
right? Like, I'd spend $5, right? Yeah. Or 10 or 40. Like, yeah.
Crazy talk, but yeah, maybe. It's just, there's been times when I have people come up to me with they get vouchers. And so they come over with their vouchers to us and they're like, hey, what can I get for, I have $7.
Oh.
And, this is what I have for the week. And it's like, well, you can have this, and here, I've got this, and I'll throw in a little bit of this because, there's times we sell tomatoes and veggies in the winter or in the summertime. And people will come to us and they expect like high prices because it's the farmer's market. And it's like, well, how many for, this bundle of tomatoes? And I've known this person for a while and I know that they're struggling. I'm like, that looks like $2. And they're like, no, it has to be. I'm like, no, that's like $2 worth of food. Like, go eat this. I'd rather you eat it than me take it home and it go bad because I have 5-gallon buckets full of tomatoes all over my house right now.
Right.
So, yeah, like the cutting of the SNAP and the EBT, like actual policies that follow through with supporting small farms. If you're Walmart or, the big four, JBS, Cargill, Tyson, and JBL. Like there's the big four of the meat producers, they have professional grant writers on staff.
Oh.
And so they can get government grants because they're written with all the key buzzwords.
Sure.
And it's me and my dad. And so I'm the one writing the grant proposals. And then the grants are cut. We just had one that was cut because one of the products we were using was a steel screen. It's a small screen, and it's not made in the United States.
Okay.
And because it's not made in the United States,
shit.
it doesn't qualify under the Build Back America, I think is the...
Yeah.
And so we didn't qualify for the federal grant. I qualified for a state grant under the same exact program.
Sure.
And I ended up getting a state grant. It's a giant system, but that one part was not made in the United States, and so it wouldn't do it. It didn't qualify.
All right. It's going great. The beef market is booming, so you got to go and sell some organ meats for the people.
I do. And it is booming. Like, the prices are increasing on beef. The consumers are going to see it more because our beef numbers are the lowest in the United States they've been, and they're continuing to be lower. And so I watch the beef market like every single week. I'm constantly on Facebook because my auction publishes the market report on Facebook. And so I look every single week of, okay, and I'm tracking prices constantly. And everybody's like, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. And it is not. It is continuing to go up. And so, yeah, it's good for us, but a little scary still.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, if I can get that direct contract between you and Paul, I'll work on it. Hopefully he'll hear this episode.
Yeah. I can't wait to try the heart smoothie with you when you come up again. So
I will try truly anything. So it's going to happen. We'll be doing it.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks for coming back on the show.
All right. Thanks, Jessica.
All right. Thanks so much to Trampus for coming back on the show. A quick stat check. Baking soda alone is not enough to clean your cutting board or kill germs. It may help your teeth and get some stains out, though. If you combine it with vinegar, it's a bit better, but it's still not soap. Also, the typical testosterone range for cis men is 300 to 1,000 grams. Paul seems to be a champion of the carnivore creep. I'm ready for him to come even further out of the carnivore closet by eating vegetables that are actually fruit, cassava, which is a tuber, and maybe even nuts, since they're technically a fruit as well. I was trying to figure out what seemed different about Paul from other grifters, Mark Hyman and Andrew Huberman, who we've previously covered. Paul's defensiveness and needing to shout to get attention reminded me of people who just want to be liked. It kind of seems desperate, which in turn reminded me of RFK Jr. They're two people who have flip-flopped on values and positions to stay relevant and get to the White House. Is Paul also feeling like he's not Ken enough for the pool of influencers? Either way, the two of them seem to have bonded over raw milk shots.
I want to do a shot of raw milk to toast this with me. All right, Secretary Kennedy, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for your work. It's an honor to spend time with you.
You too,
Appreciate you.
I think Paul's line, "We're all going to die," is perfect. Whether or not we use AirPods, iPhones, wear polyester underwear, eat kale, use soap, are vegan, or get fluoride in our water, we all won't live forever. So, how do we want to live our lives, friends? Until next time, find ways to live your life to its fullest and to make it awkward. I'm Jessica Wilson. You can follow me on Instagram at jessicawilson.msrd. You can email the show at makingitawkwardpod@gmail.com. You can buy my book, It's Always Been Ours. You can rate the show. You can review it. You can subscribe. You can join the Patreon. This podcast, Making It Awkward, is edited and mixed by Jen Jacobs, who will never, ever try a cow heart smoothie. This show is sponsored by the Legacy of Sacramento Outboard Services. It's an independent production of The Body Politic. See you next week, friends.